Hi guys, Eric here from UEM Productions. I am back after a long hiatus, and I want to speak about the spaghetti scene in Invincible, season 4, episode 5, and what truly stood out to me and how it connects to my short about the same topic. Okay, so I'm going to speak about the fighting first because I can talk about the rest in a different video and stuff. So what really stood out to me is how Mark instantly went for the kill. Now I know it's been hammered that Mark mentally has changed and he's been struggling to pull himself back from just essentially annihilating people, etc. But the thing is, at this point, it doesn't apply really. The reason why is we already know this. They hammered this point to death already. We understand that Mark understands that sometimes it's the right thing to do, and then sometimes he still needs to pull himself back. We understand that he had that moral dilemma, he's over it now. However, with Conquest, he realized something that he needed to realize since the first season, which obviously is very hard for somebody that's very kind-hearted, etc. Somebody that's not, how can I say, a little bit cold, or has that edge. And that is that he knows he needs to finish this fast. He needs to finish this effectively. Now, in a fighting context, which I talk about a lot in this channel thing, well, time capsule, that is something you need, absolutely need. That's why during this show, he's changed so slowly. I'm being honest, it's really painful to watch. It's like having that one friend at the gym that he fights, but because he fights in a soft or less cold way, he ends up losing the whole time. And that is literally Invincible. That is Mark from Invincible. And we feel his pain because, well, okay, we first felt his pain, then we felt frustration, and we're already past frustration. That's why with the Conquest fight, it was like a relief. Because finally he won. And finally he went a little bit further. He's slowly developing that edge. The edge to finish the fight. Because a lot more is at stake than he even thinks. Cool. That's why I liked when he instantly went for Conquest and he told him, "You're not going to breathe again." And at first it just sounded like he was just threatening him, but it links to how he stopped the fight. Now, this to me reminded me of a less experienced grappler in the middle of a fight that just says, "I'm going to go for it." And then they win because they just went for it. A lot of strikers who go for guillotines, triangle chokes, or sometimes get the rear naked choke after they dropped somebody also relates to this, which let me say it like this, it's good, and it's good that you got the finish and stuff. However, it's better that you perfect it. And Mark's next step will be to accept, then perfect his methods of stopping a fight. The only problem is, most animated shows, most TV shows, most dramatic live action films never go to an expert that is in the pro fighting sphere and talks to them how to put this on screen properly. Like 99% this doesn't happen, especially in animated shows. Like so many times I'm watching the fight, I'm like, could have countered there, could have countered there, could have countered there, with technical attacks like out the wazoo, even when they're flying and stuff, which is frustrating to see, but I always pull that back because this is a TV show in the end. However, Mark squeezing and continuously choking Conquest while Conquest attacks him shows that he was not sure that he's stronger to the fullest degree, so he needed to go for this as well. And that's fine. I just hope in the future they're like, okay, we need to change a little bit of the things, because in the series so far, this season specifically, I've been frustrated that Omni-Man is also now falling in the trope that Mark is falling in, when it's Mark's thing usually to lose. But when they struggled with Space Racer, somebody that Omni-Man buried for 200 years or so, why did he struggle with him so badly? I understand it's them trying to show that he's strong, but they could have showed that just his laser is strong. It's just in other ways he's a little bit limited. After a little bit of a scuffle, and then when Nolan goes serious, he could have stopped it and been like, stop, we're trying to talk to you, we're trying to convey some info to you, and we need your help. We do not want to fight. But nope, it just seemed like he got his ass kicked. It's frustrating. So these frustrating parts, I hope they change them a tiny bit. They can change the choreography a tiny bit, just a tiny bit. However, how this plays into Mark realizing or changing is he clicked that if he lets these people, these threats, survive longer than necessary, then one, he gets hurt way more than he needs to, like in this fight, like the spaghetti scene. Two, other people are at risk. And the fights with Angstrom Levy really hammered this home. So I think right now we've seen how Invincible finally changed his fighting style. He is finally thinking, I need to be a little bit cruel in a fight, but soft outside of these fights, even if it's hard mentally. That is what I think is going to get hammered in a little bit more with the episodes that comes, especially with him recovering. I don't know how they're going to show it, because a lot of people think that with the situation that happened, that he would recover just fine. No, the pain, do you know how much pain surgery is? Like, I just went through surgery. Do you know how much pain it is? You're lying there screaming for relief. It doesn't go away until you are healed. In the case of what happened, the spaghetti scene, the man would have been in excruciating, devastating pain. When I saw it, I was like, his groans, etc., is a lot less than what it would have been. A lot of people are going to be like, no, it was accurate. I'm like, no, it's not fully accurate. But him kind of holding in his breath and just finishing the fight while in so much pain is fine. It was fine to me, but Mark has finally switched. He has switched that on. He has switched his killer instinct on that is innate in Viltrumites. His father will be happy about it, but also, I wonder if he's going to be worried. He's going to talk to him. I don't know. It would be really cool if they had this dynamic where they speak to each other about this. Especially because one is a warrior Viltrumite, 1,000 years old. The one, I think that's how old Nolan is right now. Anyway, and the other one is a 20-year-old half Viltrumite, which clearly is a very special person. He's unique. He is not just any Viltrumite, half Viltrumite, sorry. He is the one. And it would be very cool to see them bond and speak about this, how to deal with this side of the stuff. If Nolan shows his fatherly side there, which they add in with the next few episodes, it would be very cool. Especially with the small bonding that him and Oliver might have in the next few episodes, etc. Regardless, the spaghetti scene is rocking the internet, and this was very fun to me. I didn't get grossed out. A lot of people were like, dude, this is so disgusting and stuff. I was like, no, this was actually very tame, especially in comparison to the comic. It was very fun. I would have liked that when Mark, well, I don't want to spoil this for anybody that hasn't seen the fight, but I'm going to spoil it. So skip this part if you don't want spoilers. All right. Okay, cool. So when Mark is choking Conquest and they're smashing through the parts of the planet and stuff, I was hoping that Mark would start kneeing Conquest. Conquest was hitting him, and essentially, if you would point scoring this like a UFC fight, he was winning the fight. But if Mark started kneeing him in between while still choking or readjusting his choke, etc., he would start winning faster. However, this was just like I explained earlier. It's like a grappler or striker specifically finding his grappling side and finding a choke. A lot of grapplers that later get exposed by strong, not grapplers, sorry, switch them around. A lot of strikers that find a choke in the UFC fights later get dominated by grapplers. And then people are like, how? This dude defended here and got this choke there. And the point is, it's because the opportunity arose from strikes. So in this case, Mark was the striker getting the choke, finding the choke. So it would have been cool if they added him landing a few certain strikes. The headbutt again, I wish when he was on top of him, I was like, headbutt him again. every time he hurts you, hurt him back, because the fight will be stopped earlier, especially in context. But that's where the choreography doesn't go along with real life, and it's more dramatic when certain things happen. When somebody's holding the choke for too long, or just holding the choke, not figuring out that in a real fight, those chokes do not always work. There's many ways to get somebody off of you that's choking you from behind, out front. Even if people pick you up by your clothes, there's many ways to get out of them. Great episode. Like, I think I need to rewatch it a few times in the future, but this was probably the best episode in the series, this season so far. And with Conquest's initial fight and this episode, it's one of the top 5, top 3 for me. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Cheers.